Alright everyone, let's reflect on last night's events then. The perfect night, perhaps. Celtic 2, Dundee 0, a routine win for Celtic, even if it did take an hour for us to get that opener. Fairly decent, I'm going with, John.
Yeah, I think routine is the word that you used there, and I think that's the word I would use. I think it's good on a night. These are, it's a bit of a cliche, but these are the matches that people don't really remember at the end of the season, but these are the games you need to rack up 3 points after 3 points, and with a certain team, other team in Scotland keeping pace with us, not the team that many expected at the start of the season, it's important that we keep winning and keep moving forward. I think it's especially pleasing on a night where we've managed to make a few changes. Rodgers really clearly rotated the team. We've got a few knocks in the squad, and just to go out and routinely win the game without much fuss at all, to be quite frank with you, is a positive. It's a positive against, we've got a trio of massive games coming up that will be more physically demanding and more intense than tonight. And so to come out of it with a win and a clean sheet's perfect.
Yes, job done. So much for us to chat about. First though, we're going to open with the thoughts of another John, because John, aka Reedzo, was at the game in Stevie's place, and he's been good enough. I actually wasn't expecting this at all, John. He's been good enough to send in some post-match thoughts, so I've not seen this yet. I wonder if he's going to look at the camera this time. We'll wait and see. Take it away, Reedzo.
So here I am on the Celtic way, and I'm talking about Celtic's 2-0 win over Dundee. Once again, I am unable to look at the camera directly for reasons that escape me. But yeah, I thought it was a decent performance in the end. We obviously have played better this season, but we did well enough to get the job done. It was all about getting the 3 points, and that's what we did. I mean, the first half we were pretty poor, to tell you the truth. Didn't really create that many chances. Kyogo missed a really good chance to give us the lead when he put a shot by the post. He had another effort saved as well. Joe Hardell. Casper Schmeichel actually made a good save early on, but we struggled to create chances, and that was probably always going to happen when you consider that we made changes. Brendan brought in the likes of Palma. Brendan brought in, as I said, the likes of Palma, Yang, like Anthony Ralston. We rested quite a number of players. Rio Hatai didn't start. Alistair Johnson didn't start. Dyson didn't start, and they're obviously very important players for us. But because of that, really, we did struggle to create chances. But the second half was a lot better when we had really practically our first team playing our strongest team, with the exception of Carl McGregor, who apparently will be back for the game on Saturday against high-flying Aberdeen, who apparently are winning as we speak. But that's nothing to do with tonight. And yes, Alistair Johnson, in-form Alistair Johnson with the first goal, a close-range effort. The second goal was apparently scored by Arne Engels after Kyogo had been fouled in the box, a Stonewall penalty, and I think Arne Engels really needed that goal because he's not been at his best recently. But he really needed that goal because, as I just said, repeating myself, great stuff this, that he hasn't been at his best. So hopefully that gives him a lot of confidence to kick on. And really, obviously all the attention tonight was about another game in Scotland. The most important thing was for us to get the job done and get the 3 points, and that's what we did. And we're, as it stands at the moment, 9:41, whatever the time is, we are currently 9 points clear of Rangers, which is always a good thing. And long may that continue, Celtic being the number one team in Glasgow and in Scotland. Really, well done to Celtic on getting the job done. It was never going to be easy with the changes, but we got it done. And Alistair Johnson, what a star he is. 2 games scoring. He is turning into the main man. And obviously good to see CCB back as well. He started. First game he started in a long while. Be interesting to see if he starts on Saturday. I'd imagine he would. And apparently, Brendan said before the game, Kuhn, Carl McGregor and Adam Ida are all going to be back for the weekend, which is great to hear. So thanks for watching this video where I look very strange. Still don't know how to look directly at a camera. Oh well. Thanks to Hamish for letting us be on. his sensational YouTube videos. Show everybody like and subscribe to it, and listen to GigPod as well. Cheers, everybody.
He really doesn't like that camera, does he?
Well, who does really? Who does like the camera? I don't often look into the camera either, so no harm there, Rizzo.
Yeah, he's becoming a bit of a cult hero. People just bustling by in the Celtic way, not even realising they're in the presence of greatness. He's saying the second half was a lot better last night, and I agree with that. I thought, well, in fact, we'll start with the team that was named, because the leaked 11, John, that was doing the rounds was the actual team, which was kind of surprising and kind of nice in a way. It was an interesting team, wasn't it? Yang coming in, Palma coming in. We got to see Carter Vickers and Trusty starting for the first time. Ralston came in at right back.
Mm-hmm. I mean, as we know, I think a few of the players are not necessarily injured, but a couple of knocks here and there. And if you're looking, at the games before the international break, we've got Aberdeen, Leipzig, Kilmarnock away. You're looking at tonight as the opportunity to make a few changes, limit the minutes of some players, and again, just to reiterate, Carter Vickers coming back into the team, getting 75 minutes under his belt. You think he's getting up to speed and good to go. So, calculated decisions from Rodgers. I don't think he was, he's not shying away from the fact that it's not his full strength team, but it's obviously a team that was capable of getting the job done. So he was justified in his selection and making sure that the team are in tip-top shape for tougher challenges ahead, while also quietly, efficiently picking up the 3 points, as we know.
Rizzo touched on the injury stuff as well. Brendan Rodgers speaking to the BBC either before or after the game, quoted as saying, Adam Idah, Nicholas Kuhn and Callum McGregor will all be fine for the weekend. Callum could have been involved tonight, but there was no need to risk it. Kuhn had an issue with his hip after the weekend. Again, no need to risk it. Good news on Adam with the scan. He got away with it after the challenge, and hopefully he'll be ready for Saturday. So really good news. And I'm wondering if Kuhn's hip thing was in the challenge right after the Idah one, because he took a bit of a sore one right after that. But they seem like they're all going to be okay.
Yeah, and obviously Maeda was on the bench, so he's out of the team as well. And I think if you're bringing McGregor, Kuhn, and Maeda into the starting 11, then it's obviously going to have a far different look to it. And also, we also had Ralston in the team as well, so with Johnston on the bench. So it was a rotated team, and that's fine. You need to do that sometimes. We do have a busy schedule between now. There's no real winter break this season either, so the Rodgers is managing the game time of his players, and I think even early on, I mean, it was alluded to there, but we missed 2 early golden opportunities that if they go in, it's like an even more comfortable and routine night, and there's no no concerns in the slightest. We didn't quite manage to get that early lead, but it always felt like Celtic were building towards a goal. And yourself, well, everyone knows, it's quite difficult when a team comes with a back 5 and then at least 3 of the other players are just in the box, and so the opportunities are hard to come across. I have to admit, I was a little bit frustrated that the early goal didn't go in, just because I felt we created that opportunity to take that golden chance, and then you've got to work harder for it, make the changes. A lot of it, more energy after half-time, you would agree. Just quicker in the pass, quicker in the thought, and then the substitutions. I would suggest they were fairly obvious subs. I think everyone could see that those were the players we needed. And everyone's happy at the end of the night.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the first half. I thought we were just a bit slow. Started the game all right. As we say, Kyogo has the 2 big chances. The second one especially is just such a good chance, and he just completely drags it, which was really disappointing, because I think if you get the goal at that stage, I think it becomes an incredibly easy night, because you even saw when we eventually got the first goal, the game just opened up for us, and it was no surprise that we got the second soon after that. So just generally, I thought we were quite slow, and we can come on to some certain players. Point I do want to make is Kasper Schmeichel makes a really good save after a minute, like a really good save down to his right. I thought, and that was actually the closest that Dundee came to a goal all night.
Yeah, and again, a save like that can be underrated, especially if you're looking back across an entire season. A save like that will undoubtedly go under the radar and not really stick in too many people's memories, but it's the kind of save that's so crucial in a night like this. Imagine when you go an early goal down, you've got a rotated team, there's games happening at the same time. It's a big night, and you're just hoping that Celtic get through it without any issue. And coming up with a big save like that is fantastic. I know Schmeichel's not been called upon too often this season, but more often than not, when he has, then he's kind of produced, and that was just another sign that he's the right man for that job at the moment at Celtic.
I think there's an argument that might be the best save he's made so far. I know there was a few against Atalanta, but I thought that was a fabulous save. First minute as well, like it shows you're ready and into the game. I don't know for sure, but I would assume that goalkeepers, just like every other position, need time to get into games, and he was ready for that. It was inside the first minute, so pleased with that. He didn't have anything else to do. Luis Palma, I thought, struggled again. For me, my biggest frustration with Palma is that it's just very slow when the ball goes to him. There's no doubt he's got technical quality, and he actually probably had one of our best efforts tonight, that long range one in the second half with the goalkeeper, McCracken, I think his name is, makes a really good save. But just when the ball falls to him, it all just goes very slow, and that's so different from Kuhn and Maeda and James Forrest. There was a moment in the first half when we were the counter-attack, and it looked like a really good opportunity, and the ball came to Palma, and the counter-attack just stopped, and we ended up just keeping the ball, and Dundee got all their players back, and you could actually hear the Celtic support audibly frustrated at that stage as well. And I just think when it gets to that stage, it's difficult for him. I really want him. I wanted them to come in and to after that Sligo game, I know it was Sligo, but scoring the hat trick, I wanted them to really kick on and have a good night. But I just thought it was really poor again. And we can come on to Yang as well, because I didn't think Yang was a hell of a lot better, if I'm honest.
Yeah, listen, I don't think Palma was a total disaster tonight. I'm not saying he had a good game by any means. I know a lot of people rush to judgment, but I just think it's clear that he just doesn't fit the team. And you can argue whether that's because he's of a certain quality or just the type of player he is. And I think there's decent arguments for both. But I just think it's obvious that him and Celtic at the same moment just aren't quite travelling in the same direction for whatever reason. And he come up with a couple of long range efforts that did threaten a little bit, or at least threaten to provide that little bit of magic. But you're right, he just doesn't have the same attributes that make our other wingers so electric and exciting when Celtic are at full flow, and it does undoubtedly slow the team down. I don't think he's doing it on purpose. I think that's just the way he plays, but Rodgers knows that, so he knows when he's putting him in the team tonight that that's what he's going to get, because we've seen this from Palma pretty much since he started. Even when he had that hot streak of form, he was never a player that's running at defenders and taking defenders on, which is arguably where this Celtic team thrives under Rodgers. That's what he likes. So we know what we're getting. So Rodgers put him in the team, we know what we're getting. I don't think anyone expected too much different tonight. And that's what we're going to... But I can't really see him staying beyond January. I think Rodgers will still use him between now and that period, because I think that he needs to, because he's in the squad, and he does need to rotate players out of the team sometime, especially with the effort that Kuhn and Maeda put into their performances. They're going to need to sit on the bench from time to time, and I think you call upon Palma, you call upon Yang against a team who perhaps won't offer as much of a challenge at Celtic Park as some of the other teams. It's a calculated gamble, it's a calculated risk for Rodgers, and it paid off tonight in the terms of getting the result in the end. But I don't think anyone's under any illusions that I don't think Palma or Yang are really challenging for that starting spot in the team, and I don't think anyone would really argue otherwise. I think it's plain for us all to see. So, yeah, I mean, you're right.
It feels like Rodgers is playing both of them out of necessity, because he has to rotate things, rather than him genuinely believing in either of them. I'm not convinced Brendan Rodgers thinks either of them are actually up to being Celtic first team players. I don't think either of them will be at the club next season. Potentially Yang would go away on a loan, because he's a bit younger, isn't he? And maybe there's more of a fit there for Celtic, because Yang does have pace, but Yang, for me, like he's involved in games a lot, like he gets a lot of touches, but he just doesn't really do anything with it. He drifts inside and passes it inside, and again, I just want a bit more, because remember Dundee last season, he was electric in that game, the midweek one, and tore Owen Beck apart, but it's just consistency with Yang, and I struggle to see it with either of them. I don't like saying that, because I want players to succeed, but I struggle with both of them.
Yeah, and I mean, it should be said that Yang's contribution forces the opener, doesn't it? So, like he stayed on the pitch like 5 minutes longer, and it was it was his ball that kind of ricochets off the Dundee defender onto Alistair Johnston, who finishes. So he did have an important contribution in the match. Again, I don't think he had a good game by any means, but you can see Yang in a full strength Celtic team with the full strength players around him. Could he do a job domestically for Celtic? I think there's an argument that he possibly can over time and improve. I don't think he's the future of the position or anything like that. But as a squad player, are you looking to then go into the market and buy another winger?
Two in January.
Is that what we're needing to do? Is that what Rodgers has always been planning to do, and just we couldn't get it done in the summer? I think these are things to consider. There's always chat that we're interested in wingers. We seem to be consistently linked with scouting reports and going to see wingers from various leagues around Europe. So we'll see how that all turns out. But I don't think it's a harsh assessment to say that Palma and Yang don't really have a long-term future at Celtic for me.
I don't think they were the only ones tonight. We did some good stuff, and I think the subs who will come on to made the difference. But I think generally you'd look at certain players. McCowan I thought was decent enough, but a bit quieter maybe than he's been, and Engels is clearly on a little bit of a dip. It's nothing to be worried about, but just a little bit from the start he made. Again, perhaps that was going to be natural. I thought Bernardo was better tonight than he was at the weekend. Kyogo a little bit quiet. So I just don't think it was like a blow-away performance, but I just thought the play was slow, and I felt Palma was part of that, not the sole reason, but part of that. We make the three changes, 57 minutes. Johnston on for Ralston, Hatate for Bernardo, Maida for Palma, and I just felt immediately that injected something into our game, and we scored a few minutes later.
Yeah, I do feel like the team were better just after half-time as well. I just felt they'd clearly got a reminder from Rodgers that he wants them to be playing quicker and not dawdle on the ball so much. The passing was a little more vertical when those players did come into the team. That just makes a huge difference immediately, and I just always felt it was inevitable that we were going to get the breakthrough at some stage. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those nights. You worry a little bit that the goal's going to have to come late because Dundee are just packing the box with players, but thankfully we just managed to find those little openings here and there. But undoubtedly the substitutes, again, livened up the performance, which we've seen quite a lot of when Celtic haven't been at their best this season. I always have felt in most cases, in most matches, that the substitutes coming into the game are helping the performances as a whole, which I think is just a really good sign that Rodgers has the right culture and has the right, he has the right team. He has the right team makeup and squad makeup to kind of push forward on multiple fronts. Because I think if you're in matches and your substitutes are coming into the game and they're not really changing things up, then you're a little bit concerned about the depth. Obviously, the players who came into the team today are starters, so that's going to make a difference. But I think even when players who haven't been starters are coming into matches, they're making positive contributions, and I just think generally that's a really good sign that the team's moving in the right direction. I always look to what the fringe players are doing, and if they're coming in and contributing, then you're always feeling pretty good.
I agree with that point. I'm also just wondering, playing devil's advocate slightly, if the players coming on in a game like tonight are just better than the ones that they replaced.
Undoubtedly tonight
for me, like Johnson coming on for Ralston is a case of Johnson being a better player, and Maida for Palma. We saw a similar thing in the Falkirk game. 4 goals, Alistair Johnson. Only 2 players have scored more than him in the league this season, which is pretty impressive.
He's a battler, isn't he? I mean, it's a joy to watch him. He knows what he's doing. He's always trying to eke out little advantages here and there. He's always, if he's not combating a player and conceding a free kick, he's often winning free kicks. He's just up and down the pitch, just consistently giving absolutely everything for Celtic, regardless of opponent. Even games that he doesn't perform well in, he just gives everything. He just empties himself on that pitch. Coming, in the game as a starter, coming off the bench, he's just going to put himself in every situation and try to win every single ball, every single 50-50, always try to get into a space where he's helping out teammates, always trying to push Celtic forward, and all of his attributes just fit Scottish football absolutely perfectly. Whoever scouted Johnston and decided to bring him to Celtic knew exactly what they're doing. That guy should be the model for future scouting, because I don't think a player from abroad has ever come into Scottish football and just immediately understood the assignment from the first time he played right through. He gets it. He just gets it. I know people say that about a lot of players, but a player coming from abroad and just being so well suited to Scottish football from the off is fairly rare. A lot of players take time to build up, or never quite manage to bring that physical battle to the Celtic game, but Johnston does, and it's fantastic to watch, and he comes up in big moments increasingly. So yeah, big thumbs up.
He's adding goals to his game, and it's weird. Players just go through those wee runs, don't they? When they everything they touch turns to gold. And McGregor had it earlier on in the season. Bizarre thing to bring up. I always remember Mark Wilson, who never really scored, having a period where he scored like 3 or 4 goals in the space of 4 or 5 matches. So Johnston going through something like that. Second goal, pretty obvious penalty kick. Yeah. I know they were checking it for VAR. I don't know if they were checking for a potential foul prior to that, because it was a Stonewall penalty.
I don't think the penalty was done out. I think it was an Engels, and in the build up. But I don't think I've seen a replay of that. But
no,
Engels, composure. He's one who is warming up to the task, and Rodgers has said that, and I think that's fair enough. Like, I just, when you think back to Matt O'Reilly arriving, he wasn't blow away in those first, 8 to 10 months even. It took him a while too. It'll take Engels a while to fully warm up to the task, but I think he shows the right stuff at times for me, and I think, again, just nice composure to stick the penalty away without any fuss. Over the last few years, we've missed a lot of penalties. And
are we over it now? Are you going to confidently say? Because you know what happens when you say that.
I know, but I just feel Engels is, he's got the stuff in that regard. I think he'll stick them away more often than not.
Yes, so that was job done. Anything else from the game directly? Any other moments you want to touch on? The game at Celtic Park, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I not really, to be honest. I mean, again, it was just what you wanted on a night like this. I know attentions in Scottish football were elsewhere. Celtic just go about their task. They had to get the 3 points. They just need to keep moving forward, and I just felt they did that. Nothing else really stood out in the game. Again, I think we covered it at the start, but Carter Vickers coming in and getting 75 minutes, I think, is really positive. And now it's going to be interesting now to see what Rodgers' preferred pairing is.
I think it'll be CCV Trusty on Saturday. Think? That's what I think.
That'll be interesting.
That will be Scales.
I think it is harsh on Scales. And we're going to see. We're going to find out, isn't it? But I think, whoever is the partnership on Saturday will be, I think, the first choice partnership going forward. So let's see who that is. I think there's arguments for Trusty and arguments for Scales. I think most fans would probably have a curiosity to see a Trusty in his more natural position alongside, a fit Carter Vickers. I think there's a lot of curiosity and potential excitement about that. It's the fashionable new thing. People like to see change. Scales, I think, has performed very well this season, though. So I would, I'm not one of those who's given up Scales in a massive hurry. I'm not in a massive rush to give it up, but Rodgers will have his own ideas.
And listen, it's a really good place to be. It's better than last year when we were all trying to convince ourselves, well, maybe not us, John, but a lot of people convinced themselves that Gustav Lagerbielke was the answer. That was a strange period. So we're in a better place now. As you say, we go forward to Aberdeen on Saturday. Oh, they were playing tonight, weren't they?
Oh.
Let me just check the score. I don't know, you won't have seen this. Oh, they won.
Oh,
2-1. They beat Rangers, apparently. Yeah, we didn't see this because we were watching Celtic, but it sounds like a deserved win for Aberdeen. I believe they missed a penalty as well, so it could have been more comprehensive. We're both now 9 points ahead of Rangers, ourselves, and Aberdeen. That's the league table there, everyone. So I know we were the same number of points clear at this stage last season, but you do struggle to see Rangers bridging that gap to ourselves anyway, based on how things are going.
I mean, if you've not heard or seen any highlights of the Rangers game, some managers are saying that it was one of their best performances of the season. So maybe take that as you will. But I mean, they're dreadful. They're dreadful, Hamish. And
will he be sacked after that?
I don't think so. I think with a semi-final just round the corner, I don't know. The Aberdeen fans were singing "sacked" in the morning, which is never a good sign. I think most Rangers fans seem to want him to go. I think his nonsensical post-match interview will worry a lot of their fans, more than anything tonight, because that part about this, one of the best performances of the season, they're a toenail away from winning, and all this sort of nonsense is just starting to sound a bit desperate. I think what was before, a lot of people considered him, a forthright talker who doesn't take any nonsense. People are now just seeing through as a guy who just constantly looks for any sort of thing to shield himself from any sort of criticism at all, which is his right to do, So, but I think people are seeing through it now, so I can't see that lasting long. And but I think again, and I've said this before on this channel, you just can't deny Aberdeen having their excitement around them right now. They've come to Celtic Park, they've beat Rangers at Pittodrie, they're in a semi-final at the weekend against Dutch, which isn't going to be an easy game for us. And they've earned their status as Celtic's main challengers at the moment. I genuinely believe that. I'm not just saying that to wind anyone up, but with the Rangers 9 points behind and dreadful, and Aberdeen doing what they need to do, I don't think Aberdeen are a fantastic side by any means. But what Thielen has done there is built a team, a unity in his team, which is quite tough to go up against. When a team's got a purpose and they feel like they're fighting for something, that's always pretty potent. And I think you undoubtedly see that from Aberdeen at the moment. What they lack in consistent quality and standout stars, they more than make up for this team purpose, working towards something, a genuine belief in their squad that they can play anyone in Scotland on their day and beat them. And I think that's what we're, just to bring it back round to us, that's what we're now going up against again at Hampden this weekend, and it's going to be difficult.
But what a challenge for the team, and it's one they'll be licking their lips at, a chance to be the first team to beat Aberdeen this season. I know we had that opportunity a couple of weeks ago, but Hampden Park, 5:30 Saturday evening, it's going to be an absolute cracker. Cannot wait for it. And I agree. I mean, I thought it was interesting because the scores when Aberdeen took the lead and then they missed a penalty and then Rangers equalised after about an hour. And how often do you see when Rangers, for example, equalise away to a team like Aberdeen that they go on and win the game? But it's the fact Aberdeen were able, and as I say, I haven't seen the game, but Aberdeen were able to calm themselves and then go and get the winner. That just sums up that they're really focused and they really have so much belief in. They're going to go into the game on Saturday, and I think the pressure is probably on us because we're still going to be the favourites. But what an opportunity for the team to go out and perform, and if we hit our top level, I still think we beat Aberdeen, and that would be a pretty special evening if we're able to beat Aberdeen and go through.
And I think what I'd say as well is they've put everything into that tonight. They've just, again, and it's maybe stupid to say that that game at Pittodrie was the biggest game that they've got this week, but in many ways it was, because they're still trying to prove themselves as a Premiership team that is going to go toe to toe with, and
it was their best chance of winning, I'd say.
Yeah, but they obviously want to get into a final. That's massive for them. They want to get a bit of silver, but it's massive for them. So I'm not trying to downplay how they see the weekend, but they did put everything into that game on Wednesday night. Celtic have managed to kind of rest a few key players, like Roger said. Didn't play McGregor because he didn't have to. Nicholas Kuhn didn't play. Johnston was on the bench. Maeda was on the bench. So we've managed to come through it with fairly well rested and ready to go. And I think Rodgers really, really fancies a treble this year. I don't think we can underplay that. And no trebles have become far more common in recent years than in the previous, couple of decades. But Rodgers really wants this. You can hear that in his interviews. He was gutted. He hated going out to Kilmarnock last season. He absolutely hated that. And he never shied away from that. He would never try to make excuses like, we'll have our focus elsewhere. He was genuinely gutted that we went out to Kilmarnock, because I think he took great pride in his cup record that he had before he went down to Leicester. And I think he wants to win trophy after trophy in his second spell here. And I think the treble is really important to him. And obviously this is a massive match on the road towards that potential.
What a couple of games we've got coming up, John. Saturday, huge. Leipzig after that, going to be huge. It's going to be a frantic week. Tonight was about getting the job done, and we did that. Final thoughts?
Yeah, just to touch on that, I was a little bit trepidatious in the build-up to that Atalanta game, but just because obviously we were on the back of the Dortmund. But I am quite a changeable football fan, I'm not going to lie, and I'm very excited about things moving forward. I think getting that point in Italy was just massive for going through, finishing in that top 24. And now you're looking, if you get a win next week, I know Leipzig's again a very tough game, not shying away from that. You get a win next week, we're virtually, we're knocking on the door of going through in the top 24 in some capacity already, and that's just a fantastic place to be. And like I say, I just feel Rodgers is doing a great job managing the squad, managing the team, moving forward, getting through tests, regardless of what level of opponent is, just doing what we need to do at this stage. And that's what, November, December, notoriously tricky. And it's just important that we keep this going now. And tonight, is an important factor in that. You drop points tonight, suddenly it puts pressures on other games coming up. So we've got the job done, and we're looking pretty good, I would say.
Fabulous. The job is done here. John, thank you very much once again for coming on and chatting. A big thanks to the other John, Rizzo, earlier on, for sharing his thoughts from Celtic Park. I'll head off for now. Back tomorrow. We are nearly at 10,500 subscribers, so if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps us to grow and find more Celtic fans like you. A great night. We'll chat to you tomorrow.